In public, Pastor John White preached peace and goodwill. Behind closed doors, his sermon was very different. John slid further down in his seat, hunched up, fascinated by what was on his computer screen, by the depravity of it, and the moans of ecstasy. He wanted nothing more than to join in, to do something crazy like that. He had spent ages finding just the right sort of stuff on the internet, the really disgusting stuff, but it had been worth it. He wanted someone dead, and then he wanted to. A knock on the door made him jump. He quickly turned off the computer, then opened the door. "Ah, Vicar, hi. I wasn't sure if anyone was in. Can we talk?" said a voice. It was one of his parishioners from Christ Community Fellowship Church in Deerfield Township, Michigan, USA. John Douglas White, 55, smiled gently and let the woman in. He listened to her patiently as she spoke. She'd never realized that the man of God that she was talking to was actually a demon in disguise. But then John was used to hiding his real personality. No one could find out his secret, about the fantasies that filled his mind for so long, the plan that he had been hatching for the last fortnight. Across town, Rebecca Gay was putting the final touches to her house, ready for Halloween. Some people are beautiful, but on the inside they're ugly. That wasn't the case with Rebecca, 24, a devoted mom to her 3-year-old son, Conway. She even managed to stay friends with his dad when they split. Cheerful, trusting, and happy, those are the words people used to describe her. Her mom would often say that she was the heart and soul of the family, and instead of being jealous, her sister Deborah agreed. As she now put a skeleton under the window, Conway was so excited he couldn't keep still. "Can I do one?" he asked. "Of course," Rebecca grinned, lifting him up. His face was a picture of concentration as he completed the task. Overwhelmed with love, Rebecca laughed and popped a kiss on top of his head. "Now they're all ready for tomorrow, Halloween," she said. As she put her son to bed and kissed him goodnight, she wondered if he'd be too excited to sleep. Luckily, he soon dropped off. Her boyfriend of 2 years, Aaron Quinn, had bought an engagement ring and planned to propose to her the next day in front of their family. The pair talked about their future all the time, the children they'd have together, and Aaron couldn't wait to pop the question. But that wasn't the biggest surprise someone had for Rebecca that night. At 2 a.m. she woke to a sound. Was someone in the house? She crept into the hallway. Immediately John struck, smashing her over the head with a rubber mallet. Again and again. She tried to fight back, to protect her son as much as herself, but the blows had made her dizzy and weak. She fought to keep her eyes open, and suddenly, they focused on her attacker and widened with shock. "I know you," she gasped. Quick as a flash, John fastened a zip tie over her neck and tightened it until she was no longer breathing. She never had a chance to tell anyone the truth about her attacker, and the truth was shocking. Not only was John the local pastor, he was also engaged to her own mother, and had babysat Conway. John moved quickly now. He had been fantasizing about this moment for a while. He was going to make sure he enjoyed it, as he undressed the dead woman and made his dream come true. Dawn was starting to tinge the sky that Halloween morning as John loaded his truck with the heavy bin bag that contained Rebecca's body and the bloody rags he used to clean up the mess he had made. He dumped everything in a quiet wooded junction outside of town. And he drove Rebecca's car to a bar called the Barn Door and left it there, so that the police would assume that she had been abducted after a night out. Finally, he chucked her phone, keys, and handbag into a nearby garbage. Now all he had to do was keep up this pretense, and he had gotten away with murder. But just to prove he wasn't a complete monster, he raced back to Rebecca's home. Incredibly, he didn't want Conway to wake up alone. He played with the young boy, fed him breakfast, and even helped him into his Halloween costume, and dropped him off at his dad's house. Ever the helpful Victor. Soon he had got the phone call he had been waiting for, though. It was Sally, tearfully calling to say her daughter hadn't turned up for work, and they had alerted the police. Word quickly spread, and soon everyone had gathered at the tiny church. For the next 20 hours, while police searched, John led prayers for the parishioners, knowing they'd never be answered. There was something about the man of cloth police didn't like, though. Something was shifty about John. They decided to bring him in for questioning. "Sorry, officers, I can't help you," the pastor insisted. But soon the whole sordid truth came out, right down to where the officers could find Rebecca's body. John White was charged with murder. Sally was stunned to discover that not only had her daughter been brutally killed, but her fiancé had done the evil deed. Around 200 people gathered for Rebecca's memorial. Rebecca's niece, Ariana, said that Aunt Becky was a very good role model for me. She taught me not to look at bad when something bad happened, but to look at the good. What good could come from her death, though? None. The devastated family gathered in the courtroom when it was time for the case to be heard. Many wearing t-shirts they had specially made reading "We love you, Becky Boo," and "Never forgotten." Then Sally Gay spoke. She didn't look at the man she had once been engaged to, who was now shackled and wearing the prison regulation orange boiler suit, but instead spoke directly to the judge. "I stand here today to be the voice for Rebecca because she no longer has a voice." Someone who showed no mercy to Rebecca is now at the mercy of the court. Her only remaining daughter, Deborah, wrapped her arm around Sally. The brave mom then begged the court to show mercy in sentencing John White. Instead of looking upset or confused, he gazed around the room as if bored, even as Sally spoke of Conway. The judge finally sentenced White to serve between 56 and 85 years for his crime. The twisted clergyman's sick dream finally came true, and now he has a whole lifetime to repent his sins.